Good morning to one and all. Today let us discuss about NoSQL databases, schemaless models, and how it going to add the flexibility for performing various data manipulations operations in the databases. Coming to the introduction regarding the NoSQL databases, as everyone know, SQL it is a structured query language. This NoSQL it is a not only SQL databases which is going to provide the services for non-relational databases, like it containing some large volume of data can be easily handled by this NoSQL, and it also going to provide high velocity for real-time applications whatever we are going to use nowadays, and it containing some various data types like structured, semi-structured, and unstructured type of data types, and it is also having some horizontal type of scalability. All these are the main four advantages we are having whenever going to use this NoSQL type of database. As everyone know, big data subject, it's going to have some large volume of data which is unable to handle our data, and we require to process higher speed. Okay, higher velocity is nothing but higher speed we require to uh, deliver the data, and we require to access that particular data. Okay, where we come the advantages regarding this NoSQL. And coming to the traditional databases like DBMS, we are going to use only MySQL and type of only databases which is going to have some structured particular schemas we going to have. But whereas these NoSQL databases like MongoDB, Cassandra, Apache Cassandra, and Redis and Neo4j, it's going to provide all the different types of flexibility, and it is going to have some scalability. All this where we are going to differ some traditional databases with these NoSQL databases. And why this NoSQL database is going to emerge means there will be some limitations in the traditional databases, relational databases. Like in the relational databases, you are having some flexible schema or fixed schema, like alter table going to require some changes whenever going to alter any structure in the tables or databases, and there will be some vertical scaling is going to have, where we require some expensive hardware in order to scale, not to increase or not to decrease, not to shrink, not to save the storage. There we come across the limitation like scaling, and there will be some reduced performance is going to have when you're going to perform some complex join operations, and poor handling of unstructured data in the structured data bases or DBMS like that. We only require to store the data in a structured data, but we can't store other types of databases data like unstructured or semi-structured or quasi-structured, and it is not having some optimizations for distributed systems. All these are the limitations you are going to have when you are going to use the traditional DBMS. But when you are going to use this big data and web application demands, we require to have some huge amount of data for storage, and we require to use some social media accounts, and everyday IoT devices, real-time analytics, and e-commerce platforms are going to existing and going to increase. So we require to store huge amount of data where these traditional databases are incompatible or unable to process or store the data, and where we are required to have some cloud native type of application, they will require to store unstructured type of data also. Companies like Amazon, Google, Facebook mainly requires high scalable data bases, and which is a distributed way. So we require to shift these traditional databases over a NoSQL database. All these are the limitations we are having in the previous traditional databases, so we require to shift because of these drawbacks we are having in the current systems. And there are mainly four types of NoSQL databases. In that, the first important databases is key value data store. Okay, in this key value data store, the every data is going to be stored in the key value page, and we are having some fast lookup by using these keys. Every data is going to be stored as a value, and we are going to look the data by using the key, and it can be a simple and highly scalable. This is the database, one database key value database stores. And examples regarding these key value stores are Redis databases and Amazon DynamoDB. These are the two main important key value data stores, and other data bases like key value databases is also existing. These are the main important prominent databases we are using for key value data stores. Coming to the use cases regarding these key value stores, like there will be some session storage. When you are going to use this session storage, at that time we can use this key value store. And for catching information, catching the data, we are going to use this key value databases. And for real time recommendation systems, which mainly use this key value data storage. All the data what you are going to keep, these are going to keep as value, and we are going to search in the data by using these keys. This is regarding one type of a data base of NoSQL, like key value database. And next it is document oriented databases. Like here, everything data is going to be stored as a documents. It can be a JSON or BSON or XML type of documentations we can use in these document oriented databases. And it is very flexible schema, and it is having some nested structures is going to be allowed in these document oriented databases. Mainly all the information we are going to keep in the documents. All these are the different types of documents we can use to store the data in these type of documents. Because it is very flexible, many of the databases are going to use this document oriented databases. Main examples regarding these document oriented databases like MongoDB and CouchDB. And coming to the use cases regarding these document databases, like content management systems and user profiles and catalog systems. All these are the use cases or applications present for these document oriented databases. Okay, and this is the second databases for NoSQL. Okay, where we can easily dump the document. Okay, we can easily add on the document data. Okay, mainly for the content management systems, CMS, we generally use these document oriented databases. Coming to these column family stores, or we can also call it as a wide column stores. It is one third type of NoSQL type of databases we are going to use. This column family is going to store the data in the form of column families. In the previous class, when we are going to discuss this HBase. HBase is also one of the example. In the first chapter, we come across this HBase. HBase is nothing but it is one of the tool where you are going to store the data in the form of column oriented type of database. Okay, where we require to store the data in the column way, where we are having some group of columns we are having, like related to the weather stations. When we record the data like weather station information, weather station ID, weather station name, like that, all these are grouped under the column family in this column oriented type of databases. In the first chapter we come across this HBase. Okay, this is also one type of NoSQL type of database we are going to use for mainly for the purpose of optimized large data sets. And in order to have some high write performance, we can shift over this NoSQL databases. The main examples of these NoSQL databases column family stores are Apache Cassandra and HBase. These are the main prominent database we come across this NoSQL database called as a column family stores. Coming to these main applications we are having in these column family stores, like analytics, when in order to analyze something in a faster way, and where we require to have some high write. At the time we can have this type of NoSQL database. And for IoT purposes and for event logging, this databases is going to perform well. The column oriented database is going to perform very well. Coming to the fourth NoSQL database is graph databases, where we are going to store the relationships as the edges and nodes. In the previous database, in the graphs mainly, we are going to store the data in the form of nodes. Nodes containing some edges, which is going to connect one node to another node. Okay, graph is nothing but it containing some roots and it containing some nodes, child nodes or parent nodes. Okay, all the data is going to store in the form of nodes and containing some chain nodes and parents nodes, etc. All these are going to be connected by some edges. Everything containing some relation between the edges and nodes in this graph database. It is one of the way in order to have to store the NoSQL database called as a graph database, and it is optimized whenever you're going to have some connected data. Okay, in order to store the family tree information, or in order to have some social network type of applications where they are friends of friends, when we are going to store some suggested information, when we are going to give some close friend information. In that way we can use this type of graph databases mainly for recommendation engines, and in order to have some fraud detections, this graph database is mainly going to use. And coming to the main examples for these graph databases like OrganoDB and Neo4j. These are the two main important databases, graph databases for this NoSQL. Okay, in the next topics we come across the different types of data types we are having in the NoSQL. This is only just regarding introduction regarding the types of the NoSQL. First of all, what is the first is the key value stores. In this we are going to store the data in the form of key value containing the data, and we are going to use the key for searching. And in the next type is document. In this document oriented database we are going to store the data in the form of documents, where we can going to use some different documents like JSON, XML in order to have fixed schemas we are going to use. And third type is column family, in that we require to store the data in the form of column families. Okay, in the fourth is we are going to store the data in the form of nodes, and we are going to establish some relation between the edges and the nodes in order to store the data and in order to have some quicker processing. This is one topic regarding the introduction regarding the NoSQL databases in the fifth chapter. And coming to the schemaless model in NoSQL, as I have told, NoSQL is not only SQL, it is a schemaless type of model we are going to use in NoSQL. Okay, what is this schemaless means? This schemaless database does not going to require any predefined structure before and inserting the data and after and inserting data. There is no predefined. We can modify the structure whenever we want in this NoSQL. Coming to this traditional DBMS, this is how we require to write the query or create the table in a predefined manner. Like we are going to use some integers for IDs and we can have some name for varchar. Like that, we require to give the structure only before only. Okay, we require to define the structure predefinedly in the traditional databases, whereas coming to these NoSQL databases, it does not, we can manipulate or modify the structure when we want, like that. Okay, like this we can modify the structure. Another document like this we can also view like this. Okay, this is NoSQL, it is not predefined, we can define after whenever you're going to use, like that. This is one of the schemaless model advantages we are having in the NoSQL. And we are having some different documents can have different types of fields. Okay, like here the field here in the traditional databases we require to define previously, but whereas here in this NoSQL we can have different fields. Different document can have different fields. Coming to the main advantages of this schemaless model, first advantages is high flexibility. We can have easily evolve the data models and easily we can have no alter table required. Okay, we cannot able to use this alter table anymore because we have some flexibility, we can easily change whenever we require. Okay, and our fields can vary as per our documents. Okay, first advantages in this schemaless model is high flexibility we are having, and next it is rapid development and like faster prototyping we can have, and it is very best suit for this agile methodology. Agile methodology is nothing but it going to changes depending upon the user uh, user requirements. We can change our project like that. We can change our data, we can have some structures, we can increase the structures, like that. This is the second uh, advantages we are having in the schemaless. And next it going to handle some unstructured data, like we are going to use some JS1 documents and metadata, and we can have some log and analytic types of data in this schemaless. Okay, which is unstructured. And it is also it going to support some nested structures, like it can have some arrays, embedded documents, and we can also have some complex type of objects in our models, in a schemaless models. And next it is flexibility. Mainly the third topic in the fifth chapter is flexibility for data manipulations. Mainly for the purpose of data manipulations, in order to have some dynamic fields, by using this NoSQL we can increase the flexibilities. Like here we can add a new fields anytime. Okay, like we can add these like this laptop and price. Later we can change the price and we can also add another field called as a discount, like that. No structural modification is required because it is a predefined. We can define anywhere, any place, anytime we want. We can also define flexibility. So we containing in dynamic manipulations we can have some dynamic fields. Dynamic fields can be easily added, and we can also embed the data anywhere, and instead of joint this related data is embedded. Like previously when we want to add any data, we are going to use some joins in the RDBMS, but whereas here we can just embed the data instead of these joins. Okay, like here we are embedding the pen book quantity in this table like that. Okay, so that we can reduce the join complexity and query latency in this NoSQL. So it is one of the flexibility in the data manipulation. Second flexibility is embedded data. We can easily embed our data so that we can reduce the join and query type of complexities we can reduce. And third type of flexibility we are having in the manipulation, like it going to support sharding, replication and distributed architecture. Okay, NoSQL is going to support all this, mainly these purposes, sharding and replication. Unlike this sharding, we are going to come in this, we are going to discuss in the next two topics. And replication, as I have told previously, it is just like a duplicate copy. If at all anything is going to lost, means we can find the data in other distributed systems or another places where we can have higher availability by using this replication. Okay, it going to support NoSQL going to support. Okay, unlike this vertical scaling in SQL, this NoSQL is going to scale across multiple machines. This horizontal scaling is going to be supported by this NoSQL. This is the third advantages we are having, flexible advantages we are having in the NoSQL for manipulation, data manipulations. And in the fourth is high write throughput is going to have for optimization of these log systems, real-time streaming and big data injection. Okay, injection is nothing but adding the data. Okay, we can easily add the data. Okay, where we required high writes at the time, we can easily use this data, NoSQL type of databases. And lastly, the cap theorem in NoSQL going easily guarantee this consistency, availability and partition tolerance. CAP is nothing but consistency, availability and partition. Tolerance is going to be accepted. It's going to guarantee all these three: consistency, availability and tolerance in this NoSQL. It's going to support this cap theorem in NoSQL, and it's going to prioritize availability and consistency. We come across all these advantages in this NoSQL. One of the main example which follow these consistency, availability and partition is MongoDB. This is main important NoSQL databases we are having. Cassandra, which is going to support this consistency and partition tolerance. MongoDB, which can be easily configurable, and Cassandra is going to have some availability and partition tolerance. These are the some of the advantages we are having in the flexibility in the data manipulations. Coming to the comparison regarding this NoSQL and SQL, here in schema, the NoSQL, it is a flexible and schemaless. And joins, it going to be supported, SQL going to be supported, and it is limited. And acid is nothing but atom, availability, consistency, isolation and durability. And it is a strong, very strong, it's going to be supported acid properties. The SQL is going to support it. whereas this NoSQL is going to have this base. Base is nothing but it is available, and it is a soft state, and eventually it is a consistency. B stand for basically it is available and in the form of soft state. And big data features of this big data in SQL is very limited, whereas this NoSQL it is optimized. It is going to best suit for this big data. NoSQL is going to suit for this big data. This is the base, and base is atomicity. Acid is nothing but atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. SQL is going to have, and base NoSQL is going to have this. Coming to these advantages of NoSQL, at least it is a highly scalability, flexible schema is there, and we can have better performance for particularly for large data sets, and it is going to suit very best for cloud environment and IoT environment, and cost effectively scaling we can have, and it's going to handle very well with semi unstructured and quasi structured different types of data we can have in this NoSQL. These are all the advantages regarding the NoSQL, and limitation regarding this NoSQL is data duplication. We can find some limitation in this limited joins we are having, and less mature compared to this RTPMS, and lack of standard query languages. Many query languages are present in this NoSQL. This is one of the drawback. As everyone know, in the RDBMS we come across only SQL. It is a static standard query language we can have, but here in NoSQL there are many, depending upon the tool you are having some different query languages, like Hive is having this query language SQL, Pig is having is query language Pig Latin, like that. HBase is having its own query languages, like that. There is no one query language standard. Depending upon the application, it's having its own language. It is one of the limitations we are having. Uh, the NoSQL. Okay, when we are going to have a huge volume of data and unstructured data, and we require some modification, and we require high writes, at that time applications we can usually use this NoSQL. And however, this NoSQL contains some complex transactions, and it's going to have some strong consistency requirement we required to improve. As is NoSQL, it is a recent we are going to do more research in this NoSQL, and many tools, many applications are evolved. Okay, it is in still evolving stage, where some structured enterprise data is required, and we require some consistent requirements. All this why we required this NoSQL databases. So in this video we are going to discuss what is NoSQL, and what is this databases, and what are all these types of different databases, and what is the schemaless models, and what are the advantages we are having in the schemaless models, and lastly we are going to use flexibility for data manipulation, how this NoSQL is going to solve. Okay, this is regarding this today's video. Okay.